Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today's English lesson we are going to look at questions with the word how. So today we will look at questions with how. We will look at how as a simple question word. Then we'll look at questions with how and an adjective, how and an adverb, how and a determiner, and finally at the end we will look at a common informal question with how, which is unique to British English. Okay, this type of question you only really hear it in British English, so we'll look at that at the end. So let's start here. So how as a question word. This has two meanings. So meaning number one, we use it to ask about manner, or asking about the way that something happens, or the way that something works. Let's look at some examples. Oh, here is the form. This is the usual form when we have a question word. How, followed by an auxiliary verb, subject, and a main verb. And of course, if we're writing the question, we write a question mark. Example. How do you turn it on? How did they travel to London? How did you make this cake? So in all of these questions, we're asking about the manner or the way that something happens or works. So here we're asking about the way that something works. How do you turn it on? Here we're asking for the manner or the way that they travelled to London. What was their method of transport to London? That's what this means. And here we're asking about the way that you made the cake. In other words, what is the recipe? Okay, what methods did you use to make this cake? What was the method? So how did you make this cake? So we're talking about manner and the way that things work. Meaning two, we're asking about condition or quality. So the condition of something or someone, or the quality of something or someone. And often, not always, but often we use verb be as a main verb. So this is the form, how, verb be, followed by a subject. So a very simple question, I'm sure you've all heard this one. How are you? How are you? So we're asking about the condition of a person. Are you well? Are you ill? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling well? Okay, so how are you? Another common question after an event, you ask, how was your interview? So here we're asking, was it a good interview? Or was it a bad interview? Were you successful? Okay, was the other person nice? Okay, so we're asking about the quality of something. How was the house? Did you buy it? So you would ask this to someone who has recently visited a house that they are looking to buy. So how was the house? This means, well, what was the condition or quality? Was it a nice house? Was it a big house? Was it a small house? Did you like the house? Okay, so that's what this question means. Okay, so how was something? Was it good? Was it bad? We can also have how followed by an adjective. And here we are asking about the degree or extent of something. So the level of something. Let me give you an example question. How hungry are you? So here we are asking, what is your degree of hunger? Degree means level. So what is your level of hunger? Are you a little hungry? Are you very hungry? Or maybe you are not hungry at all. Okay, so what is the degree of your hunger? How hungry are you? What is your level of hunger? How tall are you? So how, we have the word how, and tall is the adjective. And of course here hungry is also the adjective. How tall are you? So here we're asking, this is another way of asking, what is your height? How tall are you? Are you 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot? Okay. How tired are you? Shall we watch a film? So here again we're asking, what is the degree of your tiredness? What is your level of tiredness? What is your level of energy? Is what we're asking here. You know, do you have enough energy to watch a film? How tired are you? Are you very tired? Are you not tired? Okay. Let's look at some more examples with an adjective. How far is London from Birmingham? So we have London here, and Birmingham is in the Midlands, so it's in the middle of England. How far is London from Birmingham? So again, we're talking about the degree. What is the level of distance, in other words? So it's another way of asking, what is the distance between London and and Birmingham? What is the distance between London and Birmingham? Okay. So far is the adjective. How old is Claire? So I'm sure you've all heard this question. Well, this is the structure. We have how followed by an adjective. And we're asking what is the degree of Claire's age? So in other words, it's another way of asking what is Claire's age? Okay, how old is Claire? And we can have the same principle, but with an adverb. So instead of how an adjective, we can also have how followed by an adverb. And here we're using adverbs that modify a verb. So since an adverb modifies a verb, then the meaning is to ask about the degree or extent of an action. Okay, this is the most usual meaning. So a good example, how quickly can you run? Can you run quite quickly, very quickly, or maybe only slowly? Okay, so it's another way of asking, at what speed can you run? Another example, how hard did you study yesterday? How hard did you study yesterday? Now this is an interesting word because hard can be either an adjective, for example, the rock is hard, the rock is hard, but hard can also be an adverb. So to study hard, it means to study intensively, with lots of effort. Okay, you're really trying. So you're working, yes, with intensity. So how hard did you study yesterday? This means what was your level of effort or intensity when you studied yesterday? Okay, so did you study very hard and you worked for 10 hours? Or did you not really study much and you only studied maybe for 1 hour and then you played video games? Okay, so how hard did you study yesterday? Some more examples. how well do you ski? How well do you ski? So in other words, what is your level of skill? Are you a good skier or are you a bad skier? And here's a common use when we're talking about people. Claire asks, do you know Mr. Jones? And Jane replies, yes. Well, how well do you know him? Well, I know him very well. He's my neighbour. Okay, so here we're asking, what is your level of closeness with Mr. Jones? Is he a close friend, or do you just know him as an acquaintance? Okay, so how well do you know someone? How followed by a determiner. And in this particular use, we do it to ask about the amount of something or the quantity of something. When we're asking about the amount of a countable noun, we ask how many. And for an uncountable noun, we ask how much. If you're not sure about countable and uncountable nouns, then I advise you to watch my video about countable and uncountable nouns. The link is on the screen now at the top, and I've also put the link in the description below this video. So let's now look at how many and how much. How many? To ask about the amount of a countable noun. Countable noun. How many apples are there? How many cats do you have? So obviously here the answer would be, well, there are 2 apples. And here the answer would be, I have 3 cats. Okay, so we're talking about the amount of a countable noun. And how much? We're asking the same question, but with an uncountable noun. How much pasta do you want? So what is the quantity of pasta that you want? Do you want just a small amount, or do you want a large amount? And how much money do you have in your wallet? How much money do you have in your wallet? So money in English, the word money is uncountable. Okay, so how much money? And that is why we also say, how much does it cost? Because we're talking about the word money. How much does something cost? Okay? So how much for uncountable nouns? And finally, remember I told you there is a common informal question in British English. Well, the question is, how come? It's a very common question in informal spoken British English. The Americans don't really use this question, and it's quite it's a different subject. So I've made a separate video for this. So for the meaning and use of how come, then watch my other video. And again, the link is on the top of the screen now, and it is also in the description below this video. I recommend you watch that video. It's a very interesting question. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out our website. And here are some other videos that I recommend you watch. Thanks for watching.